in the morning on Thursday morning. I'm a day ahead, so I'm seeing your future. So I've got the opportunity to see your future. And today we're going to be going over our wellness products and our protocols and why we are positioned in such a great place with these wellness products and why we need them and how to show and share them. So first of all, I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. For those of you that don't know my history, I started with Miriam or Neora in December of 2011. And I started for the sole reason of just wanting to look younger. I'm 62 years old, and around my mid-50s, I started looking in the mirror and just thinking, oh my gosh, what's happening? What can I do? My girlfriend called me and said, hey, do you want to try this product? It's only one product. And I had such amazing results within a week or two that I just couldn't help but share it. And so a lot of my success with Miriam and Neora came just from my enthusiasm from one product. And my organization grew very, very quickly. And now I'm living this incredible life. Here I am almost 8 years in, traveling around the world. I raised 7 children on my own. I was a single mom, birthed 4, and raised an additional 3 children. And now I am freed of parenting. I still go back and visit my kids, but Neora has given me an opportunity to not only look better and feel better, but to also have this incredible life. So I couldn't be any more enthusiastic about what we have here. I have over 20 years of experience in the nutrition field. I used to work at a health food store, and then I worked as my own nutritional coach in my own practice in Oregon. And for 10 years, I was the regional sales associate for Apex Energetics, which is a nutrition company that specializes in functional medicine, functional neurology, and brain products. And I did that for 10 years. So I have a vast variety of experience, not only from my own person, but from working with customers, working with patients, and working with doctors as well. So I hope today that I'll be able to deliver some information to you that you might not have known about, and that will help you become more enthusiastic about our wellness line. This picture of me, this was 10 years ago, and I was diagnosed about 11 years ago with a brain injury. I received that brain injury when I was only 19 years old. I had a car accident where I rolled my car several times over, and I had a right cerebellar injury. If you know anything about the brain, that's the right-hand bottom part of the brain, and that really manages the way you walk around in the world. I was constantly dizzy, and also it affected my left frontal lobe, and my digestion was horrid. It was so horrid that I really couldn't digest my food, and I was 60 pounds overweight and pretty unhappy and pretty unhealthy. And so now, years later, after I worked with a neurologist to get my brain better, and since the introduction of EHT, my brain is definitely better. I had big concerns. One day I was driving home and I actually forgot how to get home. And I don't know if you're aware, but that is one of the first signs that they use to determine is dementia or Alzheimer's. And now with the advent of GPS, everybody uses a GPS. A lot of people are not, they're being diagnosed later because the GPS is telling them where to go. So I was diagnosed, and after I started my new protocol, now I have a much better brain. My thyroid, I used to have Hashimoto's with a malfunctioning thyroid, and that is all normal. I've been on a gluten-free diet. My digestion is much better. My skin looks fantastic for my age. I love it here in Australia because Australia, so many people suffer from dry skin, and I've been using Miriam or Neora for all those years. So I believe that with my personal experience as well as my background that I have a good grasp on what we have. So let's kind of explore. Today we're going to look at how you can position yourself to support your clients in their wellness from the inside out. So the first step, understanding the driving force by why we have so many health issues in the United States. I don't know anything about Canada's background. I know about Australia's, but so I'm just going to be talking about the US and Australia. Um, Anything that I say, don't repeat it. No. These statements, anything that I talk about is not approved by the Food and Drug Administration, and nothing that we have is intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. I might mention diseases and talk about what's happening in our culture, but our products are not intended to work that way. So look at the alarming headlines. What was killing us in the 1900s, most of all, was infectious diseases. Heart disease was a little bit there. Brain diseases were at about 10%, and cancer was at only 6%. Now take that 110 years later, and cancer and heart disease are some of the major causes of death, as well as diabetes and Alzheimer's. Now, I just read a headline for those of you, Helen, you're from England. England now has stated that Alzheimer's or dementia is the #1 killer in England of death. And here in Australia, it's the #1 cause of death for women in Australia. And they state, I was listening to some great topics, some great doctors on Alzheimer's, and they say now that Alzheimer's is now #3 cause of death in the United States. So we are at a crisis, not only just in the United States, Canada, and Australia, but all around the world. And there's many reasons why that could be. The economic burden of these diseases is into the billions and potentially the trillions of dollars when we come down to it. I just posted today on my Facebook that the cost of insulin in the United States, it's $28 here in Australia for a month's supply of insulin, and in the United States it's $700 for 1 month's supply of insulin. So it's not only a political, emotional, physical, but it is a huge physical and financial burden to the world. So I want you to know, as you carry on that badge of a Neora representative, that you are helping so many people in so many ways, and you're helping our whole economy. So the problem that we're having is, how do we support cellular function? And so the solution that I'm going to be talking about are our youth factor supplements. The problem, an unbalanced gut microbiome, or what's happening, all the bacteria that are in your gut. You're mostly made out of bacteria. And keeping it very balanced is really good. So the solution that we're offering is your Prolistic pre and probiotic plus vitamin product. The overall problem is brain health. I'm going to speak just for a few minutes on our EHT product. I have a full hour presentation on this incredible product, but I'm going to touch on some highlights today. And then a disrupted circadian rhythm. It seems now that everybody that you talk to, either their children or they have sleep problems. And one of the solutions is the Wellness Energy and Sleep Chews. So what has really caused this major shift in overall wellness in the United States? I don't think we can really put our finger on exactly what it is, but is it the toxins that are in our air, in our water? For those of you in the United States, you can go to ewg.org/tapwater. You can put your zip code in, and you can see how toxic your water is and what it's tested for. So water is essential for life, and many of us are drinking toxic water, and we're drinking toxic air. We're breathing. We're not drinking the air, hopefully. Stress from environmental and economic reasons. You know, in our culture, it seems like everybody's running so hard, and there's so much stress now in our environment. And what that does to our overall wellness is huge. Is that our food is being depleted from minerals in the growing methods. If you're not eating organic foods, you're eating from soils that have been depleted, and these minerals are not getting in our food, and so we're not getting the minerals in our body that need to grow a healthy body. So is our lack of exercise with the introduction of a more digital life. I was in the United States last week, and I was trying to make a left-hand turn, and every single person that was walking across the street had their head buried in their phone. There must have been 12 people. I felt like I was in zombie land. You know, so is digital living a good thing or a bad thing? I think it could be both. And our body's struggling with this whole thing. So it is a huge challenge in today's world to live healthy without help of some form of supplementation. But what kind of supplementation? You know, when you go into Whole Foods or a health food store, the walls are plastered with so many different products. How do you decide? What is it that you need? And there is no test that will put us in a little container and say, blip, 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 you need more minerals, you need more essential fatty acids, etc. So today we're going to talk about some of the causes and some of the problems that people are facing, and then how Neora can offer some solution. Most of our dysregulation with our system starts with inflammation. And inflammation is at the cause of all disease. So here's just some of the ways that chronic inflammation can damage your body. Memory loss and cognitive decline. They are now finding out that there's many reasons why we have Alzheimer's, dementia. Alzheimer's and dementia is not like cancer. It can be caused from many different reasons. You could have had a head injury that caused inflammation in the brain. You could have toxins in the brain that have accumulated, and that causes inflammation, etc. Also, you have increased cardiovascular risk. I just heard the other day that when they have taken the fat that is accumulated on the insides of our vascular system when you have a heart attack, it is not from the food, it is really from bacteria that's in our gut that has altered our fats that stick to the veins. So heart disease is caused by inflammation. Abnormal growth of healthy cells, i.e. cancer. A compromised digestive function. Just walk into any grocery store now and you're going to see right up front they're going to have medications for heartburn, acid indigestion, diarrhea, stomach issues. So millions of people are suffering. Oftentimes they don't talk about it because it's not really a nice topic until you're about 80. And then it seems like everybody talks about it. We also see loss of muscle tone and general weakness or weight gain. Just look around you as you are, you can see people that are so heavy, and when somebody has a lot of weight, they're inflamed. There's no doubt about it. There's inflammation going. And for those of us that are in Neora for beautiful skin, when you take good care of yourself, your skin also shows, because inflammation can cause the aging of the skin. And of course, joint pain, arthritis, loss of mobility. So these are just some of the ways that inflammation can directly affect the body. So anything that irritates the body can cause inflammation. If you're chronically worried about the state of affairs of global climate change, politics, whatever it is, and you're in constant stress, increasing your cortisol, that's causing inflammation. If you're sensitive to a food and you continue eating it because, gosh, it just tastes too good, that's causing chronic inflammation. And toxins, poor sleep, all of these can cause inflammation. When you are ingesting a food that you're sensitive to, the body triggers the immune system just like it was injured. So again, if you're eating that food that you're sensitive to over and over and over again, it's causing a rapid decline of your cells because of your inflammation. Cytokines, they're small little proteins, cause damage to the gut and eventually can make their way up to the brain and cause brain issues. So when you're eating or constantly inflamed, it can cause brain inflammation as well. And a system-wide inflammatory response causes oxidative stress, particularly to the mitochondria. When you think of oxidative stress, think of rust in a car. That's oxidation of the metals. And when your mitochondria and when your cells are oxidizing, they're dying. So when you take an antioxidant, it's really helping with the oxidation of that. Your brain is often the first part to suffer because your neurons are sensitive to inflammation anywhere in the body. So even if you have an infection in your toe, it's going to affect your brain. And as I said, inflammation kills your neurons, which we have neurons everywhere in our body, especially accumulated in the brain of billions of neurons, and it kills mitochondria. And at any age, inflammation causes you to have brain issues. So children, an infant, a senior citizen, anyone on that age is not necessarily a reason for inflammation. You can be inflamed at any age. And our mitochondria don't work as well. Inflammation may also cause an autoimmune response. As you're sharing the wellness products and protocols, you may have people say, I have autoimmune this, I have autoimmune that, and what can I do for it? Autoimmune is a very complex body's response to something that's going on, and it's really difficult to find the key. Working with a functional medical doctor or a naturopath is my best suggestion if you have an autoimmune response or condition. And an inflamed brain can make you angry, can cause food cravings, and can rob you of your memory. So let's look at the important aspects of a healthy body and a healthy brain. First, we're going to go over your digestion, then your gut health and bacteria in your system, why pH balance is important, how we support our brain, and looking at our sleep and energy cycle. So digestion, why is it so vital to overall health? So emerging science is now showing that overall importance of gut health in the health of our whole system. Our nervous system, our vagal nervous system, which runs all the way down from our brain to our gut, is very intricately connected. That's why when you go on stage and you start to get nervous, you might have to run to the bathroom, or you have that instant gut reaction when somebody hurts your feelings, because it's going into the brain, but it's affecting your gut. So there is no separation between the gut and the brain. They're connected with that vagal system. And if your digestion is malfunctioning, it is the beginning of many things being out of balance. And it is not just about stomach. It's not just about burping, farting, and having acid digestion. A dysbiosis or an out of balance digestive system can cause acne, rosacea, eczema, other skin issues. That's why with our wellness, we're seeing some before and after pictures, fantastic, of people that their skin is getting better all around. It can cause adrenal fatigue, where you can't get up in the morning and about 3 in the afternoon, you're exhausted and you can't fall asleep. It can cause those autoimmune issues. Also malnutrition. When you're not breaking down your food, you're not absorbing your food. And if you're not absorbing your food, you're not creating mitochondria from that food, and therefore you're not getting energy from the food. It can cause ADD, ADHD, brain issues. I used to work with in the autistic community. Every autistic child that I ever met had digestive issues. That may be at the core of their issues. It can also cause anxiety, depression, mood swings, etc. Colitis, Crohn's, colon cancer, and it can even cause death when your digestion and your system is so out of balance. What your gut needs to stay, what it really needs to stay healthy, you have bacteria in your gut, over 100 trillion. How they figure that out, I don't know. How do you count 100 trillion? For those of you that are interested in furthering your exploration on your own health, I do recommend Viome. It's viome.com. They have some incredibly advanced testing now, and they can test 100% of all your bacteria, what's in balance, what's out of balance, what foods are going to be beneficial, and what food you should avoid. It's a very, very worthwhile test, and I think it's only $149. I paid $399 for it last year, so it's really gone down in price. But if you're like me and want to live a long and happy, healthy life, your gut has a lot to do with it. The pH is really complex. You can see here when the esophagus is a little bit high, more alkaline. Your stomach is really, really acid. Your small intestine is more alkaline. So you have this really complex pH balance system. And when you eat an overacidic diet, like most Americans eat, I call the MAD or the SAD diet, standard American diet, too much meat, too many refined carbohydrates, and not enough food that comes from your garden and is green. And when you have a pH that's out of balance, you're going to have a gut that is out of balance. So your gut bacteria and pH are very, very important. This is a fact that 80% of your immune system is located in your digestive tract. So when you are having a lot of seasonal allergies, maybe you have hay fever, you always want to look to the gut to heal that. Any type of, you get the colds and the flu, or you're not feeling well, work on the gut, and that's going to be helpful. So one of the ways that we can work on our gut is by taking an external probiotic. So when you think of antibiotics, we all know, or many of us have taken an antibiotic when we had a bacterial infection that got out of control, and it killed all the bacteria. If at any time in your life you've had an antibiotic and you haven't repopulated your gut with probiotics, it lasts a lifetime. So you always want to make sure that you replant with good bacteria. So probiotics are kind of like biotics. So they're bacteria. You can eat probiotics, and fermented foods like kombuchas and yogurt and kefir, they are becoming much more popular now, so you can eat them. But you always want to have prebiotics. Just read an article yesterday that prebiotics are coming in the forefront of being more important than probiotics. And when you think prebiotics, think fertilizer. Basically, a prebiotic is undigested dietary fiber that help feed the friendly bacteria in your gut. So if you don't have a lot of prebiotics, you can take a probiotic and it doesn't go anywhere. It's like putting seeds out on the cement instead of seeds in a totally fertilized garden. So you want a product that has our pre and our probiotics together. Now, bacteria in our bodies outnumber our own cells 10 to 1. So having that good bacteria is going to be associated and is so important. It's going to give you better digestion, better skin, brain health. Oftentimes people are losing weight when their digestion is better because they are digesting and utilizing that food. And it's also going to help your immune function. Now, each and every day, we destroy our gut microbiome. So just look at this list. Antibiotics, of course, as I said, are going to destroy your good biotics, your probiotics. Steroids, if you have an infection, non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, those are over-the-counter pain relievers. Genetically modified foods, they are going to disrupt the microbiome. Chronic stress, brain injury. Did you know if you have a traumatic brain injury, one of the first things that they give you when you go to the hospital is they give you something for your digestive system because you can immediately have a digestive disruption when you have a brain injury. Toxins in our air and soil, medications, artificial sweeteners, MSG, these all destroy good bacteria. Even if you're chewing a piece of gum with aspartame, it can destroy your gut microbiome. So that's why I recommend a daily dose of the product. Also, diet soda and the aspartame. I really like this little showing here. Drinking one diet soda a day can increase the possibilities of you having Alzheimer's by 2.89% and a stroke. Diet soda should have never been approved, and I hope that you've all given it up and have your family give it up as well. It is not a good food. And then, of course, sugar. Sugar is going to feed the nasty, gnarly bacteria in the system. It also feeds cancer. Sugar is not good, and the more you can reduce sugar, the better. So here again, we're looking at some of the disorders or imbalances that are caused by the out of balance flora. Hardening of the arteries, dental cavities. So you may be surprised at some of the things that can come out from an imbalanced flora. So here comes the hero, is our Prolistic pre and probiotic powder. It does help the immune system. It helps your digestive system function better. It balances your healthy bacteria. It helps absorb the nutrients because when you have good bacteria, you're absorbing your nutrients. And the lovely lemon flavor melts in your mouth. And why is it so different than anything else that's on the market? Number one, it dissolves directly in the mouth and it's very shelf stable. You'll notice that many probiotics when you go into a health food store are going to be refrigerated. That's because the probiotics that they're using are very delicate and they need to stay at a certain temperature cold. So when you buy one out of the refrigerator, you have no guarantee of how effective that product is. It could have been laying out in a box for a long time. You're relying on the person that is selling it to you that it stayed cold. With our product, because of the freeze drying, it really makes it shelf stable. So you can travel with it. You don't have to worry about it getting hot. It's shelf stable. And it melts directly on your tongue. I do recommend that you, after you put it on your tongue, you leave it in your mouth for a minute and swish it around. Go up and around the teeth with your tongue. Your probiotics start in your mouth and then let it absorb into the system. That way you're going to get good dental health as well. We have vitamin B, C, and D. Excuse me. As you know, most Americans and certainly Australians as well are deficient in vitamin D. So getting good, usable vitamin D is very good. And your vitamin B is good for your nervous system and vitamin C for your immune system. And drum roll, of course, we've got the prebiotics with it. So that means that we're going to get a much better planting of those probiotics. Now, when I did my Viome test, I'd been taking the product for about a year. And I had all my bacteria tested, and I have an abundant amount of the Acidophilus and Bifidus. So I absolutely know for sure that these good bacteria got into my system. I just want to kind of share with you the difference between the small intestine and the large intestine, because both these systems are different. And your small intestine is where your food is absorbed and broken down into the system. And if that closed system has any leaks, or the mucosal layer inside your small intestine starts to get damaged, it can cause little microscopic little holes where bacteria get out into the system and they're attacked by the immune system. So when you hear leaky gut, that's what you're hearing. I know more and more people are talking about it. Restoring your gut to a good, healthy, functioning gut is not an easy task. One thing that you can do is you can add collagen. I wish Neora had our collagen back on a regular basis, but I have collagen chews before bed. I use collagen in my coffee, and I have meltable collagen, and I also make my own bone broth. When you think about the mucus, when you make bone broth, how it's got that jelly-like system on top, that's kind of what it's doing to your intestines, really replanting and re-helping that gut. So, and of course, the colon or large intestine is where the food that's been digested heads on out. So you're not so much digestion, pulling in nutrients in the large intestine. That is where everything is exiting out. So just to recap, the Prolistic is going to help with our support stomach acid production, and it does help with the pH naturally. Now our next product is called our Youth Factor, and our Youth Factor powder contains a couple unique properties. Number one, it has these two patent pending enzymes, endo-1,4-beta-xylanase and D-glucanase. These are patent pending enzymes that help you not only digest what you're drinking at the time, but they help set your system up for absorbing nutrients from other foods as well. It also helps you absorb your polyphenols. Now, what's a polyphenol? All of our fruits and vegetables are rich in polyphenols. When you have an orange or banana or apple, all the coloring that's in that food is made up of polyphenols. Most of us do not get enough polyphenols in our diet. We're not having 7 to 10 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. So when you're drinking your Youth Factor powder, you're getting almost pre-digested polyphenols that have already been kind of pre-digested for you. So you're getting a super injection of superfoods without having to eat. So of course, everybody loves this product. The taste is so delicious. The the sweetener in this product is called palatinose. It does not increase blood sugar for a diabetic or anyone else. So you can be cool with giving it to your kids and you're not giving them a sugary drink. You can also make popsicles out of it. And this is a favorite product for many people. So these are some of the fruits and vegetables in it. So these polyphenols, the micronutrients, they're packed with antioxidant. They can improve your digestive issues, your weight management. They help support your blood sugar, and they can support neurodegenerative and cardiovascular issues. So you can see the benefits of taking this amazing, simple product that's very reasonably priced, and you don't have to fret that you didn't have a complete breakfast or a lunch. You can just take that during the day. The next product that we have is our Vitality Complex Holistic Daily Supplement. This is a product that a lot of people don't know the importance of it and why it is such a powerhouse product. Now, one of my favorite bloggers and podcasters is Dave Asprey with Bulletproof Coffee. He is a mitochondria king. There's a great video that he explains how mitochondria works. But that mitochondria, when you get older, your mitochondria start to die. Mitochondria are tiny bacteria that live inside of each cell. And what mitochondria does, it converts the air that you breathe and the food that you eat into energy. And as you grow older and your mitochondria start to die, you're going to see people losing their energy, losing their focus. They want to sleep longer. They just don't have the get up and go like they used to. Their skin starts to look older. They're dying a little bit inside with their mitochondria dying. Where is mitochondria most? It's in our heart, our eyes, and our brain. And so since the two major causes of death in the United States are heart disease and dementia or Alzheimer's, you can see why mitochondria is going to be a very important product. Now, this is what the mitochondria looks like. It's under a microscope. It is kind of a purple color, but it's easy to really see it as the powerhouse of the cell, and it does all the converting. It's such an important part of your overall health and wellness. Now, what makes our product unique is that it has 3 of the most powerful ingredients that have been clinically shown to support mitochondria. One of them is called PQQ. It induces mitochondrial biogenesis. Fancy way of saying it grows new mitochondria. So when you're taking PQQ, you're actually pumping up your mitochondria. The next one is called Shilajit. Now, Shilajit, the other name for Shilajit is called fulvic acid. For some reason, fulvic acid sounds like a dirty word or something. But Shilajit comes from the Himalayas, and it's basically minerals. And they know that it revitalizes CoQ10 and it boosts your mitochondrial production. So your PQQ is giving you more mitochondria. Shilajit has given you a boost in mitochondria. And then, of course, CoQ10 protects your mitochondria. So you don't want a mitochondrial death. You want to keep them healthy. Now, Dave Asprey does have a product that is supportive of mitochondria. And the price of his product is around $79 for a month's supply. So I think that you'll agree that at $45 or less for our product, it is a pretty good deal. This is a gross picture of Yushchenko. He was the president of the Ukraine, and he was poisoned, and he was given some dioxin. He did survive, but this is a picture that's just 2 weeks apart. And you can see the rapid decline right on his face, how he started to have blackheads and blemishes. He lost elasticity in the skin and had pock marks. And this is just over a couple weeks with that lack of mitochondria. So mitochondria is definitely going to affect the appearance of your skin as well. So it's a very important part of looking beautiful as well as feeling beautiful. Now, we know that both the mitochondrial, the youth factor, and the prolistic are going to affect our gut. So when we get a gut that works better, it's going to influence our neurotransmitters, it's going to influence our stress and anxiety, and our mood and behavior. And then what happens in our brain is going to affect our motility, and the nutrient deliverance in the gut. So that's why that gut-brain axis, as they call it, the communication between the brain and the gut is going to be happening all the time. So when I had a pretty severe brain injury, my digestive system was terrible. Once I started to get my brain better, my digestive system got better, and now it works in sync much, much better. So that brings us to our next product in our line, which is our EHT. EHT is for memory, focus, concentration, and overall brain health. Now, considering that Alzheimer's is in the top 3 causes of death almost everywhere in the world, brain health should be #1 priority for anybody over 40, 30, 20, at any time. We all need our brains. Just think, if we don't have our brains, we really don't have a future, we can't live in the present, and we don't have a past. And people are more afraid of dying of Alzheimer's than they are of dying of cancer. So this is the most precious asset that we have, and it should be a high priority that we all take good care of our brain. What makes this product so unique from all the other brain products that are out there is this incredible molecule called eoconosyl 5-hydroxytryptamide. And they found this, they discovered it when they realized that coffee drinkers had a lower incidence of dementia. And so they knew there was something in the coffee that was triggering the tau proteins from accumulating. So that's how they started to discover this incredible molecule. So it does come from coffee. Some of our new packaging says coffee extract. It's really not the whole coffee extract. It's a molecule that it's extracted from the coffee bean. So what does it do? It creates an enzyme in the body, or it supports an enzyme called PP2A. And what PP2A does, it helps the microtubules stay really, really strong. So if you think about the neuron, the neuron, in order for the synapses to work, there's a bridge between your neuron and your synapses. So when I tell you to wiggle your toe, all of you can wiggle it immediately. So your message in your neuron got the message and sent information down directly to the synapses, and therefore we could wiggle our toe, and it works at the speed of light. Now, these axons, which are the bridges between our neuron and the synapses, are made with proteins, and these proteins are called tau proteins. When this bridge starts to break down and these tau proteins get tangled, it can cause the neuron to try to fire, but there's nothing to fire upon because the bridge is broken. So somebody with dementia, they have a hard time remembering names, they might not remember faces, they might be angry, they might not walk very well, they may do crazy things because the whole system is broken down. Here's a picture of these tangles. I want to show you how this works. And you can, whoops. For some reason, my video is not working today. I can send that separate. Uh-oh. My computer's stuck. So while it's unsticking, okay. So that little video, which I can send that clip to you, is fascinating to watch as the neurons break down and those it gets tangled. It actually causes these little knots in the brain. The other thing that they know that causes Alzheimer's, dementia, is amyloid plaquing. Amyloid plaquing is there to protect our brain, but when it comes, you get too much of it, it can cause the classic signs of Alzheimer's. And amyloid plaquing is caused by, they call it type 3 diabetes. You may have heard that before, but it's really the regulation of sugar and carbohydrates that accumulate in the brain. So eating well and being on our nutrition program is going to help with that as well. Some of the other ingredients, along with that eoconosyl 5-hydroxytryptamide, are in the United States, we've got huperzine, and huperzine helps the acetylcholine, which is a neurotransmitter. Acetylcholine is responsible for memory and holding on to information. In Canada, you have the ginkgo biloba. Ginkgo works differently than huperzine. What ginkgo does, it makes the vessels, blood vessels, expand, so you're getting more blood to the brain, which is really important. you want to have the brain have a good blood flow. We also have vitamin D, the best form of vitamin B12, which is called methylcobalamin, very important for nerve conduction along with selenium. Magnesium. Magnesium is one of the big minerals that's missing in our food sources, so I do take extra magnesium along with my EHT. And we have alpha lipoic acid. It's an antioxidant, which helps the cellular energy production and helps to neutralize the damage caused by those free radicals. So the synergistic combination of these essential nutrients produced a fast-acting, amazing product called EHT, and it is truly an amazing product for all ages. It does say for adults only, but we do have some children taking it, and you can, if you have a younger child taking it, you can have less ingredients. None of these ingredients, if you look them up, are detrimental to a small person. All right, the next section is our Wellness Chews, and that is the newest product that we've added to our line. I know from Helen that you're not getting the Wellness Chews unless you have the not for resale in Canada, so they're not available to your customers yet. But these are some amazing products. I was so excited when they were developed. So why are Americans, Canadians, Australians so sleep deprived? You know, and I think some of us have not had good sleeping habits and we take sleep for granted, or we're drinking too much caffeine, or we're taking sleeping tablets, and actually taking an over-the-counter sleeping tablet like NyQuil PM or any of those PM medicines has definitely been clinically shown to increase the potential of Alzheimer's up to 45%. Those are not, they're habit forming and they're very detrimental to your brain. But having a different schedule, so if you're working on a shift, working late hours and not having the rhythm, you know, 100 years ago or 200 years ago, we all had the same rhythm. We got up with the sun, we went down when the sun went down because there wasn't anything to do afterward. And now we have 24/7 lives. Eating and drinking too late into the night and eating the wrong foods can cause sleep problems. Too much blue light from your computers and TVs. There's a couple things you can do to combat that. I purchased some blue blocking glasses that I wear in the evening. Also, you can have your computer and your phone set to blue blocking light. Basically, what that blue light does, it fools your pineal gland into thinking it's daytime. So if you're looking at your Netflix late into the night, it's hard for your body to go to sleep because your pineal gland thinks that the sun just went down. So of course, stress is causing sleep problems, insomnia, sleep apnea, restless legs, medical conditions, drug side effects, and I want to talk about today the cortisol rhythm problem. So what is cortisol? Cortisol is a hormone. So it's a steroid hormone. It's manufactured from your cholesterol, and it's made in the adrenal glands. So most of your cells inside your body have cortisol receptors. So cortisol helps control your blood sugar levels, regulates your metabolism. So when you have a cortisol that's out of balance, oftentimes people will either get a big hump on the back of their neck or they're going to have big belly fat. So that's really a good indicator of out of balance cortisol. A good balance of cortisol helps reduce inflammation, and it also helps with memory formation. So you don't want to have too much cortisol. It has a controlling effect on salt and water balance, so it helps control your blood pressure. And all of these functions make cortisol a crucial hormone to protect overall health and well-being. So cortisol is very, very important in your everyday life. And when your cortisol is out of sync, and you may find yourself in one or two of these, that you have anxiety, out of control emotions, depression. You've heard that expression, I'm hangry. Somebody that's hangry has a drop in their cortisol and they're not getting enough nutrition in their brain. So they're kind of in a bad mood until they eat. You can't even talk without coffee in the morning. So if you have low morning cortisol, it's very hard to get out of bed and very hard to start your brain working. So people with low cortisol often drink coffee first thing in the morning. You get sleepy between that 3 to 5 in the afternoon. I used to work with doctors that said they could always see who needed support because they could see the Starbucks line increasing at around 3 o'clock. You're wide awake at night and you can't fall asleep, or you're waking up at 3 or 4 a.m. like clockwork. The reason why your body does that is because cortisol's out of balance and your brain needs glucose 24/7. So your adrenal glands basically wake you up to have your liver squirt out a little bit of glucose for your brain, and oftentimes it's hard to go back to sleep. And then weight gain and inability to lose weight. These are all signs and symptoms of your cortisol being out of balance. So if your cortisol is good, you're going to help with your proteins, fats, and carbohydrates, so you're going to utilize your food better. It helps keep inflammation down. And as I spoke at the beginning of this presentation, inflammation is the key to most disease. It helps regulate your blood pressure. It helps control your sleep and wake cycle, and it boosts your energy so you can handle stress. The opposite hormone of cortisol is, now I can't remember, it is melatonin. So when you have high cortisol, you have low melatonin production. And when you have high melatonin production, you have low cortisol production. So that is why we put a little bit of melatonin in our products. So one of the key ingredients in our wellness products are it's a product called Circadiplex. It's a combination of 3 unique ingredients. It's got ashwagandha. Ashwagandha has been used for centuries in Ayurvedic medicine. It is called an adaptogen. So it adapts to whatever's happening in your body. It is a miracle product. And our ashwagandha has been clinically tested. We use the leaves, the stems, and the roots for a very, very potent ashwagandha. Reishi mushrooms, or Ganoderma, it's called. They call it the queen of mushrooms. If you look on PubMed.org, you're going to find Ganoderma or Reishi mushrooms curing cancer. You're going to see some of the clinical studies of what Reishi mushrooms have done. They are an amazing mushroom. And we have Gotu Kola, which is, again, an Ayurvedic and Indian herb that they've used for longevity. So both our sleep and energy chews have this combination of ingredients. And then we add a few more. So in our wellness energy chew, we add extra B vitamins. So we add an extra B12. And this helps with neurological function and helps your immune system. We add a little bit of caffeine from green tea. So it's like drinking 1 cup of green tea. So it's not going to leave you shaky. And we have L-tyrosine, an amino acid used for learning, memory, alertness, and at different times of stress. So you can see that the wellness chew is not just for energy, it's also for your brain. It's an excellent product. I recommend when you start your clients, your customers on this protocol, that they do it at least for 60 days, both products, because our goal is to balance cortisol. It's not just to help you sleep, but it's to balance the cortisol. So your wellness daytime chew is going to boost your energy. It's going to sustain alertness. It helps your body counteract the negative side effects of stress. And the most important thing is it's going to help balance that circadian rhythm by reducing your cortisol levels if they're elevated or increasing them. Now, our sleep chews are the opposite of our wellness. They help you fall asleep. They reduce the time that you fall asleep. My partner here, he calls them his nighttime lollies. He's like, where's my night lolly? We chew them, and then within 15 minutes, both of us are asleep. It works great. It helps you stay asleep, and it increases your sleep time. You wake up fresh and clear-minded. It supports a calm, relaxed, not a clammy, I obviously have a spelling error there, relaxed state of mind. And again, it helps you with stress. The unique ingredients in here are a little bit of melatonin, about 1.5 milligrams of melatonin, chamomile, which is known to help anxiety and settle the stomach. It's really good for calming, and L-tryptophan. L-tryptophan is one of those amino acids that you find in turkey. It gives you that nice relaxed Thanksgiving meal relaxation. So there's a little tryptophan. They did do a 60-day human clinical trial on the ashwagandha that we're using. These were randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled studies, and it was a gold standard study. And what it showed was cortisol down 14.5% over 60 days, and DHEA, which is another hormone that has a lot to do with our aging, up by 13.2%. So everyone, the test subjects experienced less fatigue, a higher ability to concentrate, and less sleeplessness. So this is a great product that we do have those clinical studies on. So our digestive systems, as you can see, are the key to our wellness. Understanding our system, how it works and how to support it is vital today in today's world. So you want to choose your food, your water, and everything that you put in your mouth with a good holistic view. One of the additional supplements that I do like to mention that I like to add is an essential fatty acid. So if you are not eating the fish a couple times a week or something fatty, you want to, because essential fatty acids are so important for the skin and the brain. I'm hoping that Neora will come up with that. Just wanted to give a little tip on when you're talking to customers about our products. When you've moved from skincare to wellness, it's a whole different ball of wax. You're going to hear people call you up and say, you know, I'm burping when I take this, or I broke out with a rash, or so there's going to be a lot. So you want to do, for the first 90 days, a lot of hand holding and follow up with your customers. The key to any type of sales is to really knowing what your customer is suffering from. So that don't make any presumptions when you look at somebody, and ask them, you know, if you could look at one or two of the health challenges that you have, what is your biggest health challenge right now? Because if you're putting out too many products, displaying right away, and you explain the whole line, you may lose them. But if you ask them, and maybe they'll say, you know, I'm not sleeping very well and I tend to burp a lot. So you know that the first products you'd bring out would be maybe the Prolistic and your sleep and energy chews. And then you can add from there. So set the precedent for your customers seeing a difference within 90 days for the best results. So when you enroll your customer and set them on a system where you're following up and making sure that they're taking the products and that they're getting the kind of results that they want. And of course, when they have those great results, it's a perfect time to ask for a testimony. So in review of where we've gone, long-term wellness is the key to a happy life. So we're increasing our mitochondria. Remember, mitochondria, brain, eyes, heart, overall wellness. So you're increasing that with our Youth Factor supplement. You're supporting your gut bacteria and your gut health with our Prolistic and our antioxidant drink. The antioxidant drink is helping support your pH and gives you those rich polyphenols. And of course, we're supporting our overall brain health with the EHT and your natural sleep and energy cycles with our wellness chews. If you'll do some comparing on the market for the price of our products, you'll see how well priced they are. And of course, if somebody joins as a customer, they can get some discounts.